I remember the night like it was yesterday. I'd been on the road for hours, pushing through mile after mile of empty highway. It was late, and the road was completely deserted. Just my headlights cutting through the darkness. That's when I saw him, a man standing on the side of the road, his thumb out, looking for a ride. Normally, I wouldn't have stopped, but there was something about him, something that made me slow down. Maybe it was the way he looked, or maybe it was just the eerie silence of the night. Either way, I pulled over. As he climbed into the cab, I couldn't help but notice how cold he was. He didn't say much, just nodded when I asked where he was going. The silence was thick, almost suffocating. I tried to make small talk, but he barely responded, just the occasional grunt or nod. I could feel my anxiety growing, the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. There was something wrong, something off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. The drive felt like it lasted forever. He just sat there, staring straight ahead, his eyes blank, almost lifeless. I tried to focus on the road, to ignore the growing sense of dread, but it was impossible. I could feel his presence, heavy and oppressive, like a weight pressing down on me. I started to wonder if I'd made a mistake, if I should have just kept driving, but it was too late now. When we finally reached his stop, I turned to tell him we'd arrived, but the seat was empty. He was gone, vanished without a trace. I felt a cold chill run down my spine as I realized I'd been driving alone the entire time. I tried to tell myself it was just my imagination, that he'd somehow slipped out without me noticing. But deep down, I knew the truth. I'd seen a ghost, a spirit trapped on that lonely stretch of road. And now, every time I drive that route, I can feel his presence, like he's still there, waiting for another ride. It was a foggy October night, the kind of night where the world feels muted, like it's holding its breath. I was driving along a familiar route, just trying to make it through another shift, when I saw her, a woman in a blue dress, standing on the side of the road. She looked out of place, almost ethereal, like she'd stepped out of a different time. I slowed down, rolling down my window to ask if she needed help. She didn't respond, just stared at me with those hollow eyes. I got out of the truck, my heart pounding. I took a step toward her, but she vanished like a wisp of smoke. I stood there, stunned, unable to move. It was like I'd stepped into another world, a world where the rules didn't apply. I finally shook myself out of it, got back into my truck, and drove off as fast as I could. But I couldn't shake the feeling that she was still there, watching me from the shadows. I asked around, hoping someone could explain what I'd seen. That's when I heard the stories about the woman in blue, the ghost who haunts that stretch of road. They say she died in a car accident years ago, and now she's trapped, looking for a ride that will never come. Every time I drive that route, I keep my eyes on the road, afraid to look back, afraid of what I might see. I still think about her sometimes, wonder what happened to her, why she's still there. Maybe she's trying to find her way home, or maybe she's looking for something she lost. Whatever it is, I hope she finds it, because I can't shake the feeling that one day she'll find a way to hitch a ride, and I don't want to be the one behind the wheel when she does. I'd heard the stories about the old Tri-County truck stop people said it was haunted, that strange things happened there. I didn't believe it, thought it was just talk. But one night, I found myself pulling in, too tired to keep going. The place was deserted, the windows dark and broken, the whole place giving off an eerie vibe. I parked my truck and settled in, hoping to get a few hours of sleep. But as soon as I closed my eyes, I felt it, a presence, like something was watching me. I tried to ignore it, tried to tell myself it was just my imagination. But then I heard the footsteps, soft at first, then louder, like someone was walking right outside my truck. I opened my eyes and looked around, but there was no one there. I locked the doors, my heart racing, but the footsteps didn't stop. They grew louder, more insistent, like they were trying to get inside. I sat there, frozen, listening to the footsteps circle my truck. I could feel the fear building, a cold, suffocating weight pressing down on me. I knew I had to get out of there, but I couldn't move, like something was holding me in place. Then I saw them, shadows, moving just outside my window, shifting and twisting like they were alive. I forced myself to move, started the engine, and tore out of there as fast as I could. I didn't look back, didn't dare to, but I could feel them, like they were still there, chasing me down the road. I found out later that the truck stop had a dark history, that people had seen ghosts there for years. They say the spirits of the dead are trapped there, haunting anyone who dares to stop. Now, whenever I pass by, I keep my eyes on the road, refusing to look back, afraid of what might be waiting for me in the darkness. The road is full of shadows, and sometimes those shadows come to life. These aren't just stories, they're warnings. If you've made it this far, hit like, subscribe, and join us next time on Holy Fucking Horror, because out here, the monsters are real, and they're waiting for you. Stay haunted, and remember, the road is never as empty as it seems.